How's it going, everybody? My name is Lucky Buns, and in today's video I'm going to be going over organization strategies for your friends list, how to delete and mark inactive players, and search strings that'll help you open and send gifts efficiently in order to get millions of experience. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, let's go over the types of friends in Pokemon Go. Local and global are going to be the main two types. Local friends are basically just going to be people that live near you and you can interact with in person. This means you can most likely meet up with them to do lucky trades. I would prioritize adding these types of players on your friends list. And then global friends are basically people that don't live near you, so you can't interact with them in person unless you actually travel. If you struggle to interact with people in your local area, or maybe you just don't have that many local players, you're probably going to end up adding more global players, and that's honestly okay. The Pokemon Go Friends subreddit is a great place to add players from around the world to build up friendship and get experience. The only downside here is that if you actually get lucky friends with them, you won't be able to get those trades done. Next up, let's go over the gift limits. You guys can send up to 100 gifts per day, but you can only hold up to 20 in your inventory at one single time. You can also open up to 30 gifts per day. This was permanently increased from 20 last year after the pandemic bonuses were lifted, so that's a really nice quality of life update. Now, I do want to also go over different playstyles. It's pretty important to mention this early on in my opinion because a lot of players aren't actually that proactive about sending and opening gifts in game. Some find it really tedious and just kind of ignore it completely. So I think it's really important to manage your expectations. For example, if they open your gifts but they don't send you any gifts, I think that's okay. And the same can be said if they send you gifts but they don't actually open your gifts. I think as long as you're interacting on a regular basis, that's the most important part. Now, personally speaking, I try to send gifts as often as possible to friends that are below best friends so that we can continue building up friendship. But since I have close to 400 friends most of the time, I obviously have to prioritize certain players. I'm going to explain my thought process regarding this throughout the video, but there's honestly no right or wrong way to do this since everyone plays this game differently. My goal of this video is to hopefully give you guys inspiration on how to better manage and organize your friends list just to match your goals. That being said though, towards the end of this video, I'm also going to go over some of my difficulties deleting certain players from my friends list, which I think some of you guys might actually find really beneficial. That being said though, let's go over the search strings next, which I think are really important. Now, the first string that I'm going to go over is the interactable search string. So this is going to show you which friends you guys have not interacted with in a 24-hour period. So I just interacted with this trainer. Now you can see that there's actually a blue cloud behind their trainer icon. I don't typically use this search filter, but if I need to open gifts before midnight, then I'll typically use this one. Next up, let's go over the giftable search string. So this one's going to show you which friends can actually receive a gift from you. Now, if you've actually sent them a gift, there's going to be a gray arrow on the bottom right of their trainer icon. Obviously, if I'm using this filter, I'm not going to see any of those trainers, but if I exit out of it, you can see that a lot of the trainers down here do have that gray icon. Now, typically, whenever I go out to play Pokemon Go, this is the one that I actually use the most because I can quickly send out the max 20 gifts in my inventory and then let my auto catcher fill up my bag once again. And then from there, you pretty much just rinse and repeat. I typically prioritize newer friends and then I prioritize my local best friends that I'm trying to get lucky friends with. So for example, you guys can see here that I have a lot of people that I want to get best friends with eventually. Now, if you actually look at the top of the friends list here, you can see that I only have 135 friends that I can send gifts to. That's honestly not that many, right? Compared to how many friends I have on my friends list. Like I have 392. Now, the reason that I want to point this out is because I think it's a good representation of the fact that most players don't open your gifts on a regular basis, even if you're a YouTuber like myself. The next search string that we're going to go over is going to be friend level 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. So for friend level 1, this is going to pull up your good friends. For friend level 2, this is going to pull up your great friends. For friend level 3, this is going to pull up your ultra friends. And then for friend level 4, this is going to pull up your best friends. Now, if you guys actually click on the heart icon on the bottom right of the screen right now, you can actually sort by friendship level as well. So if you type in friend level 3, for example, then you click on this, you can reverse the order as well. So for example, for friend level 2, if I reverse the order, you can see here that I actually have some friends that I'm pretty close to hitting ultra friends with. If I click on their heart icon, I can see that I'm 1 day away from hitting ultra friends with Darkstar. I think I'm 1 day away from this person as well. Yeah, but I already sent them a gift, so they just are kind of holding on to it right now. Maybe they're waiting to, use it all together for a massive friendship level up spree. That's totally valid as well. This definitely helps you speed up the process if you have a few friendship level ups to go through, but I wouldn't recommend doing too many at a time, like no more than 4 or 5 at a time. The reason why I say this is because you only get the experience when you get the notification. And I believe Niantic has fixed this, but there was a point in time where you would not get notifications after a certain point, which means that you wouldn't get the experience either. Now, the only solution that I found to this is that if you click on a Pokemon and then you exit out, for some reason this kind of helps the game continue processing notifications. For example, if you level up with 4 people but you only get notifications for 3 people, click on a Pokemon, it can be like Field Research or Stacked Encounter as well, and then back out, and then this should trigger the notification. Again, I'm pretty sure Niantic has fixed this, but if you're not getting notifications in your game, this is a good solution for it. Now, our final search string is going to be for lucky friends. Just type in lucky, that's going to pull up all of your lucky friends. As you guys can see on screen right now, I have a total of 63 lucky friends, which is kind of crazy. So with that being said, that's basically all the search strings I wanted to go over, but now let's go over combinable search strings. So you guys can actually combine any of the search strings that I just mentioned by using the and symbol. So for example, let's use the interactable and giftable search strings combined. So this is going to pull up all of your friends that can receive a gift, but you haven't interacted with today. Now you can also also exclude any of these options as well by using the exclamation point before the search string. So for example, if I wanted to filter out lucky friends, or I didn't want to see any lucky friends, I would type in exclamation point and then lucky. This is going to take away any of the lucky friends I currently have. If I wanted to exclude lucky friends but wanted to see all my friends that were giftable, I can just type in exclamation point lucky and giftable, and it's going to exclude my lucky friends, but it's going to pull up all my friends that can receive a gift. Now you can also combine these search strings as well with nicknames. So for example, if I wanted to search for giftable friends, but I also wanted to filter out by just local friends, I would type in giftable and then SCV, which is my local community. And then as you can see now, I only have 36 friends that I can send gifts to. So with that being said, that pretty much covers all of the search strings that I wanted to go over, but now let's go over nickname strategies that I personally use. The first nickname strategy I'm gonna go over is what I use for my local players. So I use SCV, which is for my local Pokemon Go community. You guys can also just use local if you want to. Now you can only send up to 100 gifts a day, and you can only open under 30 gifts a day. And if you're mainly gonna focus on opening gifts, I would highly recommend prioritizing your locals in your own community, because if you get lucky friends with them, I mean, there's a higher chance of you actually getting that trade done opposed to an international friend, which is most likely never going to happen. Now obviously this definitely depends on your goals in game. Like for example, if you're really just focused on experience, then obviously lucky friends aren't that important. You should definitely focus on your friends that you're trying to get to best friends with. But if you want to get some of the best Pokemon in game and they're only going to cost half the Stardust, then lucky friends are extremely important. I do want to show you guys this though right now. If we take a look at my lucky Pokemon and then we filter it out by legendary as well, you can see that I have 53 lucky Pokemon that are legendary, and many of these were from lucky friend trades. And if we actually sort by favorite, you can see that I have a ton of really good Pokemon that I got from lucky trades. And again, guys, like if you don't prioritize your locals, you're not going to be able to do this. Now the next nickname strategy that I'm going to go over is one that I personally don't use myself, but I feel like a lot of players might actually benefit from this. This is really just dependent on if you're going for 7-kilometer eggs, to focus on your distance medal, or for guaranteed extra large candy. This might also include, Vivillon patterns that you want to focus on getting, if you're going for 100% IV scatterbugs from saving postcards, and it's extremely important. So let me just go over what I would do in case I did actually want to do this. So this trainer here is from New Zealand. So if I wanted to rename his nickname here, I would just type in like NZ for New Zealand, or you can just type out the full thing like New Zealand, but I don't think that's like that efficient. I feel like NZ would be a good way to approach this if you want to just focus on distance. Now the other one I would focus on is that, like, I don't know the Vivillon pattern for New Zealand, but if I did, I would just type in like Sandstorm or something like that. And that way, like, if you're just trying to focus on getting like 100% IV Scatterbug from the Sandstorm region, this would be something to focus on, and then you would just kind of go open up the gift, and then you would pin it right there, and then you can just unpin it. Now, personally speaking, I feel like focusing on Scatterbug is just way too tedious for myself, but if that's something that you want to go for, then I do highly recommend using this strategy. The next strategy that I'm going to go over is days away from leveling up. So for example, if I'm getting close to leveling up friendship with somebody, like specifically like 1 or 2 days away, I'm going to add the number as the nickname. So for example, with Darkstar, I'm 1 day away from getting to Ultra Friends. And this person is also a referral, so I'm going to talk about that in a second here, but I'll essentially just put 1. That being said though, after the recent quality of life update earlier this year, I feel like this probably isn't as important, as Niantic did add the ability to drop a lucky egg from the friendship level up screen if you actually hit great, ultra, or best friends. Still, if you're stacking up friendship level ups, you may still want to do this for just organization purposes. Now for the next one that I'm going to go over, this is specifically for referral ads. I just use the dash symbol. This kind of helps me indicate, like who I actually have rewards from. My code is always linked in the description down below, by the way, and it's basically a win-win for both of us since we both get rewards from the referee completing tasks. The only way to actually use the referral code though is if you haven't played the game in over 90 days, you can actually just use the code when you come back to the game. Now the reason why I do this is because it helps me stay organized when I need to go through and claim rewards during events with like special bonuses. For example, when I have a lucky egg or a star piece active and then it's like 3 times catch Stardust, I can go through and just kind of catch all the Pokemon encounters that I have in here. For example, that one's pretty much done, but let me go to this one. There's like a bunch of Pokemon encounters in here. There's also a bunch of other rewards as well. For example, I get stuff like incense, super incubators, raid passes even. To be honest, the tasks aren't really that hard, not to mention the referee is also going to be getting a lot of these items as well. And they're premium items, are not exactly cheap to get in the shop. So for example, if they reach Ultra Buddy with a Pokemon, that's 5 super incubators for me. If they purify 20 Shadow Pokemon, that's 10 rare candy. If they evolve 100 Pokemon, that's 1 super incubator. If they win 3 raids, I get a premium raid pass, which again, they can just use their free passes for. So again, it's totally like up to them if they want to go through and get their tasks done. A lot of players that actually use the referral program don't end up completing most of these. In total, I've almost referred up to 600 players in this game. And to be honest, guys, I've actually gotten a stupid amount of super incubators for someone who doesn't actually spend money on Pokecoins. So in my opinion, as a free-to-play player, this has been super clutch for me. But I also feel like the only reason why I've actually been able to refer this many players in game is because I'm a content creator. Again, if you guys can refer your friends, you don't have to even use my referral code. Just refer your friends if you want to, and it's definitely a nice way to get some good items in game. Now the final one that I'm going to go over is for content creators. I just use CC. Now I only have a handful of creators added on my friends list, and I've never actually been like a mainstream creator for Pokemon Go, so I don't have any of like the big names like Mystic7 or Trainer Tips Nick or anybody like that. That said though, I do have Brandon Ton, which is really cool. So we actually added each other recently in Pokemon Go, but he sends gifts really frequently, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna hit best friends within like the next few months. Now on top of Brandon Ton, I do also have a few other cool names on my friends list, like Swag Tips is right here. We have Count Jinsla as well, who have been like one day away from best friends for like over a year now. I've sent him a gift, he just hasn't opened it, hasn't sent me a gift. I have no idea why. But it would have been nice if we actually hit best friends and then potentially even got lucky friends. It would have been cool to do like a lucky trade in person at one of the Pokemon Go Fest or something like that, but I don't think that's ever going to happen at this point since he doesn't really want to open my gift for some reason. So obviously most of you guys aren't going to use this one, but I thought you might find it cool to see which creators I have added on my friends list. Back to the focus of this video though, let's go over removing and deleting inactive players. So how I mark this is I use a slash icon. I use a symbol to mark trainers I feel have gone inactive, and if I check back in like a week or two and they still haven't interacted, I'm going to update their nickname again with their total experience or Pokemon caught, and then I'm going to give them another week or two before I remove them completely from my friends list if the number has not changed. Now for this trainer specifically, they haven't actually played the game in at least like a week or two, but I'm going to give them a little bit more time to see if they do come back, and if they don't, then I'm just going to have to end up deleting them. Now for players who have reached Ultra or Best Friends but they aren't actually locals, I'm also going to mark them with this same symbol and then remove them after about a week or two, kind of giving them enough time to actually collect their friendship experience. So for example, me and this person have already hit Ultra Friends and it's kind of been a little bit of time now, so I'm going to remove them from my friends list. And once again, they're non-locals. I have no idea who they are, so I mean, it doesn't really make sense to keep them on my friends list when I have a bunch of referrals that I need to add on my friends list right now. Now that we've made it toward the end of this video, I do want to go over some difficult to remove players. So basically, these are just players that I struggle to delete off my friends list for whatever reason, and there's actually quite a few reasons I'm going to go over. The first one is going to be lucky friends that are non-local. In all honesty, I should probably remove these people from my friends list, but I haven't gotten around to it just yet. Like, this person is a good example of someone that I'm probably never going to run into. To be honest, one of the bigger reasons that I haven't actually deleted many of these players is because a lot of them are fans. Like LionTYH is a fan, Dust Settler is a fan, Arianator Gamer is a fan, Cisco Hiker is a fan. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm kind of trying to work through this myself if I can, but at the end of the day, guys, getting rid of lucky friends, not the easiest thing to do. The next category is going to be for locals that don't open or send gifts, but they still actively play the game. I have so many people that fit this category, and I've honestly found it really difficult to remove these players because some of them will legit get upset that I removed them. The ramifications of this is kind of like unfollowing somebody on social media. For some reason, they'll think that this means that you guys aren't friends anymore, or like you dislike them for whatever reason, when that's simply not the case. In the case of Pokemon Go, I feel like my friend space is definitely valuable, and if they don't want to focus on getting best friends or eventually even lucky friends, I should realistically remove them so I can add somebody else who does want to interact with me on a regular basis. To be honest, it's really a bit frustrating because I only have so much friend space, and as you guys can tell, I have like 18 people who want to be on my friends list right now. I can add 10 of them, but 8 people are not going to be able to get on my friends list until I clear out more space. And these people are kind of taking up that space because they're not opening my gifts, they're not sending me gifts, so we're not even interacting, and that means that we're not even potentially getting lucky friends. So once again, a certain type of player that I do struggle getting rid of on my friends list, and again, like, I know them in person, I'm probably not going to get rid of them, but you know, for some players, it is really frustrating that they don't even bother opening or even sending me gifts. And it's not even like I expected that often. Like, to go an entire year or even longer than a year without even bothering to send me a gift or even open my gift, I mean, seriously, dude, like, come on. The next category of players is going to be friends that are close to leveling up, like best friends or ultra friends. So sometimes players will hold on to your gift so that they can get a bunch of experience while on a lucky egg. This is a strategy that I always recommend utilizing as a free-to-play player, but there is a limit to how long you guys should actually wait. I don't typically mind waiting like a few weeks. To be honest, it's not really that big of a deal to me, but after like a few months, it does become a bit ridiculous. Now, sometimes players will take breaks from the game, in which case it kind of makes it difficult because I'm sure they want the experience, but there has to be a limit to how long you want to keep somebody waiting. Typically, in most scenarios, players aren't maxed on friend space, so they can just keep them there indefinitely. That being said though, in my case, since I'm regularly hitting that 400 limit, this isn't exactly a great strategy for me anymore. I've actually had to remove players that were between 1 to 3 days away from best friends, but because they were inactive for like over 6 months, I mean, it just didn't make sense to keep them on my friends list anymore. I actually have one person on my friends list right now that I've been marking as an inactive player. Like, I have it marked right here, 7440. That's their experience right now, and we're literally 3 days away from becoming best friends. It's kind of frustrating, guys, because it does suck that I'm gonna have to throw away all the experience, all that hard work, but they may never come back to the game. For those of you who are familiar with economics, it's essentially like an opportunity cost. Like, if I get rid of this best friend, I can essentially work up my way to best friends with somebody else, and then we can get the experience. Whereas this person is probably never gonna come back to the game, I just have them taking up a spot. Ultimately, it does come down to making room for more proactive gifters and senders, and I just think that's a better opportunity for you than just kind of keeping these players on your friends list who may end up coming back to the game and like, you'll interact with them 3 more times and then you'll get best friends, but that could like literally be never. Like, this person may never come back to the game. I really have no idea. For right now though, I'm gonna keep them on my friends list and I'll hope that they come back in the next few months. If they don't, then again, they have to get kicked off. One of the final things I want to go over, and something that I have actually gotten comments about, is a friend exclusive spots on my friends list. So I know that some creators do charge fans to get a spot on their friends list through like Patreon tiers, and given the demand, I could probably start doing this too, but I won't. It just kind of feels a little bit scummy to me, and I honestly just can't bring myself to do it. For now, the only guaranteed way is actually through the referral program, because it's a win-win for both parties and it's also completely free. I would love to add all of my dedicated fans, but I don't really feel like a monthly subscription is the right way to go about it. It's actually kind of crazy when I see some creators charging up to like $20, $25 just for a spot on their friends list. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of money just for a spot on somebody's friends list. Anyways, guys, with that being said, that pretty much wraps things up for this video. I feel like most players won't even get past 200 friends lists if I'm being completely honest here, but hopefully some of you guys were able to find some of my strategies helpful. I feel like my situation is very unique as a creator, but of course, if you guys have your own organization methods, I would love to hear about them in the comment section down below. And if you guys do want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.